Good afternoon. We will be discussing another module for the subject strategic cost management. For this afternoon, the topic is about relevant costing. This topic can be used most likely in all aspects of a business because it's about decision making. We have 9 learning objectives for this topic. So, medyo marami siya, kaya hahatiin natin sa dalawang session. First objective is to identify relevant and irrelevant costs and benefits in a decision. A relevant cost is a cost that differs between alternatives, while relevant benefits is a benefit that differs between alternatives. Paano magkakaroon ng relevant cost at saka benefit? Ito yung una mong iisipin. In a decision making, you have at least 2 alternatives or option. There will be no decision making, there will be no relevant cost or benefits, no choices or options or alternatives. Para masabing relevant cost, it is the cost that differs between alternatives. Example, alternative 1, ang magagastos mo na direct material is 10 pesos. Alternative 2, ang magagastos mong direct material is 5 pesos. Since meron ng difference dun sa cost of direct materials, there is relevant cost. Dun naman sa relevant benefit, benefit that differs between choices. Kung sa alternative 1, ang selling price mo is 20. On the other alternative naman, ang selling price mo is 15. Meron na namang difference dun sa selling price. Since merong difference and selling price or selling price is revenue, meaning benefit for the company, it is now relevant benefit. Since merong difference sa alternative, meron agad relevant. Either relevant cost or benefit. Depende kung ano yung pinagkaiba. Now, how to identify relevant cost in the information? Unavoidable cost. O yan ha, yung mga terms dito sa topic na to, you must be familiar with the terms. Kasi parang makita mo pa lang yung term na yon, alam mo na kung relevant siya or irrelevant. So one of the term is avoidable cost. So kung merong avoidable, merong unavoidable cost. Avoidable cost is a cost that can be eliminated in a whole or in part by choosing one alternative or choices over another. So, pwede daw ma-eliminate as a whole or portion lang. Kunyari, sabi nga natin kanina, alternative 1, alternative 2. Direct material dun sa isa, 10. Pero dun sa isa, 5 lang. Meaning, merong na-eliminate. Magkano yung na-eliminate? From 10, naging 5. Magkano yung na-eliminate? 5. Meaning 5 is avoidable cost. Pwede rin, kunyari, alternative 1, gumagamit tayo na, alternative 1, nagre-renta tayo. Alternative 2, hindi na tayo nagre-renta. Alternative 1, rental expense is, sabihin natin 20,000. Since on alternative 2, hindi na tayo magre-renta, how much is the avoidable cost? 20,000. You eliminated the whole cost for rental, right? So that is avoidable cost. And avoidable costs are relevant. Kasi nga, they differ from one alternative to another. On the other hand, we have what we call unavoidable cost. Since avoidable costs are relevant costs, unavoidable naman irrelevant. So ano po yung gagawin natin sa irrelevant cost? There are two broad categories of cost that are never relevant, meaning irrelevant. Never mong isasama sa computation mo ng relevant costing sa decision making. Ano-ano daw yun? One is sunk cost. Ano po ma'am yung example ng sunk cost? Example niyan is depreciation. Regardless of alternatives, since nabili mo na yung machinery, kahit gamitin mo yan or hindi mo gamitin, yung depreciation niyan is laging meron every year. Tama? Meaning, sunk cost na yon. Meron pa tayong tinatawag na committed cost na under din ng sunk cost. Yan. And another is a future cost that does not differ between the alternatives. Ang pinag-uusapan kasi natin is expansion ng isang segment o magpuput up tayo ng another segment of the company. Since another segment siya, pinag-uusapan natin is magkano yung mga cost ng segment, mga relevant and irrelevant cost ng segment na yon. Ngayon, since magpuput up ka ng another business or another segment, yung kunyari is salaries ng isang supervisor. Yung supervisor na nagsusupervise ng maraming segments. So since maa-add sa kanya yung another segment na yon, yes, to be supervised nung specific na tao na yon, yung cost ng salary niya, since sa susunod pa naman siya magkakasweldo ulit na magkakasweldo, future cost siya. But regardless kung magkaroon ng another segment or not, yung sweldo niya, matatanggap niya pa rin. The company will still incur that sweldo. So kung hindi naman magdi-differ, yung future cost na yon, not relevant. Una mong iisipin, paano magiging relevant? Ma'am, nahihirapan akong i-identify if relevant or irrelevant. Ito lang yan. Parang sa timbangan. Kung sa timbangan, paano mo i-weigh if relevant or irrelevant? Or i-identify if relevant or irrelevant? Parang hawakan mo yung dalawang alternative sa kamay mo. Sa isang alternative, nandun sa kabila mo, right hand, right hand. Yung isang alternative, nandun sa left hand mo. Ngayon, nag-identify ka ng mga cost, nakalista yung mga cost. I-identify mo ngayon, isa-isa dun sa cost na yun, if it is relevant or irrelevant. O di isa-isain mo, cost number 1. Pag na-incur ko ba yung cost number 1, meron ba siya sa alternative 1, meron din ba siya sa alternative 2? If yes, irrelevant. Cost number 2. If yung cost number 2 is nagastos ko, meron ba siya kay alternative 1 or meron ba siya kay alternative 2? Pag wala, dun sa kada isa, relevant. Yun yung una mong gawin. Yan. Is identifying relevant cost. Because this topic or this module, you cannot compute. You cannot have wise decision if you do not know how relevant and irrelevant cost. If a cost is not used in a particular decision making, kung hindi mo siya magagamit sa decision making mo, then the cost is irrelevant in that situation. Meron tayong tinatawag na mga future cost, katulad ng sinasabi dito na future cost that does not differ. Pwede rin kasing future cost that will differ. If a future cost will differ, relevant yun. If a future cost does not differ, irrelevant yun. Ano po ba yung mga nire-refer natin when we say future cost? These are planned cost, budgeted cost, projected cost, or estimated cost. They are yet to be incurred in upcoming activities. If a cost is not a future cost, it is automatically not relevant. Katulad ni number 1. Kung hindi daw siya future cost, unang-una dyan, irrelevant yan. Meaning, sunk cost na yan. Na-incurred mo na yan on the past. So, yun yung tinatawag nating future cost. Future cost can be relevant or irrelevant. So, paano natin i-identify if it is relevant or irrelevant? If it differs between two alternatives. So, sinasabi dyan, if a cost is not a future cost, then the cost is irrelevant. Meaning, sunk cost siya. Gagamitin sa decision making? No. Gagamitin sa relevant costing? No. A cost to be relevant must be both. Ito yung requirement para masabi mong relevant. Nahihirapan ka dun sa timbangan. Ito na lang gawin mo. Para masabing relevant, dalawang factor. Una, dapat daw differential cost siya or future cost. Alam mo na yung future cost, lahat ng cost na mai-incurred in the upcoming activities. What is differential cost? It is a cost that differs from one option to another. Pwedeng tinatawag siyang differential income. Differential income or cost. Pwedeng incremental cost or pwede ring incremental income or benefits. Yan. So, yun yung way how to identify relevant cost. Yan. So, there are keys to a successful decision making. Ito yung actually na very useful in decision making. Kahit sa buhay. Ito yung, or kahit sa mga ordinary activities na ginagawa nyo, you can use this keys. Una, you must focus only on relevant cost and benefits. When we say relevant cost, pwede siyang avoidable, yung na-discuss natin, pwede siyang differential cost or incremental cost. Pag relevant benefit naman, pwedeng differential benefits or incremental benefits. Ma'am, ano po ba pag sinabing incremental cost? Cost refer to those that increase in cost from one option to another. Kunyari, in alternative 1, dati ang rental natin is 10,000. Pag chinus natin si alternative 2, ang magiging rental natin is 20,000. Hence, dumagdag ng 10,000, incremental cost yun. So, yung dagdag na 10,000 is a relevant cost. Another 2 is ignore everything else, including sunk cost and future cost and benefits that do not differ between two alternatives. So, isa lang ang sinasabi talaga dito sa key na to, or key to successful decision making. You must only consider relevant factors, which are relevant benefit and relevant cost. Wala nang iba. Everything else, ignore. But, there are cases na minsan nalilito ang mga bata or sa business din naman. Because there are some costs na sa ganitong decision making, relevant siya. Pero on another context, irrelevant siya. Yun yung costs that are relevant in one decision situation may not be relevant to another context. Thus, in each decision, ito daw gagawin, the manager must examine the data at hand and isolate the relevant cost. Hindi po laging pare-parehas. Kung yung direct material in this decision making is relevant, hindi po ibig sabihin pag ang pinag-usapan natin ay another decision making, yung direct material is also relevant. It always depends. Kaya nga, in every decision making, cost and benefits should be always examined. Yan. So, gawa natin ng example. In this example, we will test our ability to identify relevant and irrelevant cost. So, example, assume the following information with respect to Cynthia. So, si Cynthia yung pinag-uusapan natin, a Boston student who is considering visiting her friend in New York City. Cynthia is trying to decide whether it would be less expensive to drive or take the train to New York. So what is the decision making? Or ano yung alternatives? So igawin na lang natin yung alternative train or drive? Para mas mabilis nating ano. Ano daw yung mas less expensive sa kanya? Magte-train or she will drive? So, train or drive? Yun yung i-ano natin. Train or drive. By car, it is 230 miles to her friend's apartment. So, 230 miles daw yung ida-drive niya or iti-take ng train. She is trying to decide whether alternative is less expensive and gathered the following information. So, number 1 information, annual straight line depreciation of her car. Magkano daw? 2,800 in total. So, cost per mile kasi based on 10,000 miles yan 10,000 miles per year. Kasi kunyari 10,000 miles per year yung nadadrive niya. So, ang cost per mile niya is 0.280. Okay? So, 0.280. Cost of gasoline. So, isa yun sa pinag-uusapan. Cost of gasoline is 0.1. Next, 3. Annual cost of auto insurance and license. So, yung car niya may lisensya or may registration and insurance. So, magkano daw yun annually? That is 1,380. So, what is the cost per mile? That is 0.138 or 138, right? Number 4, maintenance and repairs. So, sa maintenance and repairs, makakagastos daw siya ng 0.065 in every mile that she drive. Magkano? 0.065 every mile that she drive. Number 5, parking fees at school. Yung parking fees at school, that is $360. Paano nakuha? That is $45 per month times 8 months. Siguro 8 months lang yung stay kasi nila sa school. So, that's 45 times 8. Annually, ang nagagastos niya for parking fees at school is 60 or 0.036. Meron pa. Number 7. Reduction in resale value of car per mile of wear. Sa kada daw, kada mile na dinadrive, nagbababa daw yung resale value of 0.26. And number 8, round trip train ticket of $104. Kung magti-train siya, ito yung magagastos niyang train ticket. Next is 9, benefits of relaxing on train trip. Kaya naka-question mark kasi syempre hindi mo naman malalagyan yung value ng relaxation. Number 10, cost of putting dog in a kennel while gone. Magkano? $40. Ano daw yung putting dog in a kennel? Sa kanila kasi is yung parang tagapag-alaga, parang sa may mga vet tayo dito sa Philippines na yung pag kunyari umaalis, pwedeng iwanan sa kanila. Ang tawag doon is kennel or dog kennel. Yan. Number 11 is benefit of having car in New York. So, walang cost. Yung meron lang available na car every time na aalis. Next is hassle of parking in New York. Sa New York kasi, syempre, small city, mahal yung parking, tapos hindi ka pwedeng mag-park sa labas ng building. So, medyo hassle yung parking. May cost yun? Wala. Next, number 13 is per day cost of parking car in New York. So, since if ever mapili niyang mag-drive papuntang New York, magkano yung cost ng parking? $25. Yan. So, isa-isahin natin yan. So, meron tayong 13 items. So, let's have verdict in each factor. Yeah. Number 1, the cost of the car is sunk cost. Hence, yung depreciation niya, sunk cost, regardless kung mag-drive siya or mag-train siya, merong depreciation. Number 1, irrelevant. Number 2, cost ng gasoline. Pag nag-drive ba siya, may cost ng gasoline? Yes, ma'am. Pag nag-train ba siya, may cost ng gasoline? No, ma'am. Since magkaiba yung sagot mo, relevant yung number 2. Number 3, The annual cost of insurance and registration daw ng car. O, ito ang tanong. Pag nag-drive ka ba, may insurance yung car? Yes, ma'am. Pag nag-train ka ba, i-register mo at i-insure mo yung car? Yes pa rin po. Since yes yung sagot mo, number 3, irrelevant. O, so isa lang yung relevant natin dito, number 2. Number 4 and 5. So, the cost of maintenance and repairs is relevant. Bakit? Sabi nga natin, pag nag-drive ka ba, madadagdagan yung cost of maintenance and repairs? Yes po. Pag nag-train ka ba, madadagdagan yung cost of repairs and maintenance? No po. Since magkaiba yung sagot mo between alternatives, then number 4 is relevant. Number 5, the monthly school parking fee. Yun yung 8 months times 45. Naalala? 8 months times 45. Monthly school parking fee is not relevant. Why? Kasi binabayaran mo na yan sa school. Pag nag-train ka ba, mayroon ka pa rin babayarang parking fee sa school? Yes, kasi fix yun na nasa school. Next, if magdadrive ka ba, mayroon bang parking fee? Yes, ma'am. Since yes, irrelevant. So next, number 7. Decline in resale value due to additional miles is relevant. Bakit? Pag nag-train ka ba, meron bang additional mile doon sa car mo? Wala po kasi nakastop yung car. When you drive, are there additional mile to the car? Yes po. Since magkaiba yung answer mo between two alternatives, then number 7 is relevant to your decision making. Number 8, the round trip train ticket or fare, relevant or irrelevant? Pag nag-drive ka ba, meron train ticket? Wala po. If sakay ka ba sa train, merong train ticket? Yes po. Since magkaiba yung answer mo, relevant. Ganun lang kasimple. Identifying relevant and irrelevant. Number 9. Relaxing on the train is relevant. Pag nag-train ka ba, makakapag-relax ka? Yes po. Pag nag-drive ka ba, makakapag-relax ka? No po. Since magkaiba, relevant. But it is difficult for us to assign a value on your relaxation. In management accounting or in decision making, for it to be wise, you first take into consideration those information that can be quantified. Una, yun ang gagawin mo. But also, qualitative factor will also be considered in the decision making. Pero ang una mo nang pinag-uusapan is the quantitative factor. So si number 9, irrelevant siya, pero we cannot assign a value or peso value or dollar value for your relaxation. Number 10, the kennel cost is not relevant. Pag nag-drive ka ba, ilalagay mo yung dog mo sa kennel? Yes po. Pag nag-train ka ba, ilalagay mo yung dog mo sa kennel? Yes po. Then, number 10, irrelevant. Pero number 10, di ba? Ano to? Future cost to. Hindi ka pa naman pumupunta sa New York, right? Nagastos mo na ba to dati? No. So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya sunk cost. Ano yung number 10? Future cost siya. Pero pinag-uusapan natin dito, relevant ba siya or irrelevant? Does it differs between two alternatives, yung future cost na to? Hindi po. Since hindi, irrelevant siya. Number 11 and 12. Dito muna tayo sa baba. 11 and 12. The benefits of having car in New York and the problem of parking space are both relevant. Kasi meron kang benefit. Pag nag-train ka, meron ka bang car sa New York? Wala. Pag nag-train ka, meron ka bang iisiping parking fee? Wala. Or parking space? Wala. Since magkaiba yung sagot mo, relevant siya. But we cannot assign a value for your convenience and inconvenience about the car. So, pero relevant naman siya. Number 13 is the cost of parking in is relevant. Bakit daw relevant? Pag nag-train ka ba, meron ka bang babayaran na parking fee sa New York? Wala po. Pag nag-drive ka ba, meron ka bang babayaran na parking fee sa New York? Yes po. Since magkaiba yung answer mo between alternatives, Then, number 13 is relevant. Para sa mga nakapansin, lahat ng highlighted in white, yun lang po yung, or yung nasa box na white, yun lang po yung mga relevant. So, isa-isay natin yung relevant. Yung cost of gasoline, relevant. Cost of maintenance and repairs. Ano pa? Cost of decline to the resale value due to additional miles. Relaxing benefit in the train ticket, and then the benefit of having car and also the hassle of finding parking space, and lastly is the cost of parking fee sa New York. So to summarize, yung mga cost na na-identify or information na na-identify natin about Cynthia's decision-making of taking the train or driving her car, ito po yung summary niya. So ano yung mga cost or relevant cost in driving? Una, yung gasoline. Magkano daw? Ilang bang miles to drive? 230 miles kung natatandaan mo. 230 miles. Since back and forth, 460 times yung cost per mile ng gasoline is 0.1. So total cost na magagastos mo for the whole trip is 46 for the gasoline. For the maintenance, kaya 460 kasi nga 230 times 2 back and forth times the cost of maintenance per mile is 0.65. Total maintenance cost is $29.90. Next is reduction in the resale value of the car. Since you are driving the car, the cost of the car is depreciate or the resale value is depreciating. So magkano? 460, since 460 miles yung madadrive mo, times the cost per mile of 0.26 per mile, total 11.96. And lastly is the parking fee in New York. Since 2 days siya doon sa New York, times 25 per day, total is 50. So what is the cost of driving? Ang total cost na may incur niya of driving to New York is 137.86. While the total relevant cost of taking the train is only the round trip ticket. Magkano? $104. So dito pa lang, tatanungin kita, what is your choice? Will you take the train or will you drive? Ma'am, mas mura po pag magti-train ako, 104 lang. Pag magda-drive ako, ang magiging cost para sa akin is 137.86. So, ang sagot natin dyan is take the train. But also, meron ding magbibigay din naman sa'yo or non-financial factors. Katulad ng hassle, katulad ng benefit of relaxing, katulad ng availability of car in New York, those will also influence your decision making or the decision making of Cynthia. Yan. Kahit minsan sa company, minsan meron tayong quantitative information na katulad ng ganito, 104 and 137.86. Minsan, ang nakukonsider pa rin is yung 137.86 because minsan, mas malaki yung impact ng non-financial factor doon sa nagde-decide or doon sa management. Do you get the point? But on management accounting per se, muna, syempre, ang unang sagot natin dito is taking the train kasi mas less expensive siya. Tinatanong kasi ni Cynthia is which of the alternative would be less expensive for her. So, bigyan pa kita ng isang example para mas ma-enhance mo yung skills mo in differential costing. Ayan. So, dito, pinipresent, the management of a company is considering a new labor saving machine. So, bibili daw siya or hindi, gagamit daw yung company ng tinatawag na labor saving machine. Since labor saving, dun pa lang sa term niya, masisave daw yung labor. Ano ba yung labor? Yung tinatawag natin direct labor. So meaning, if you will consider using the new machine, yung labor cost mo will decline. So tingnan natin kung ano yung impact nung paggamit ng labor saving machine that will rent for $3,000 per year. So ito daw yung data ng company. So dito binigay na sa'yo buong financial statement. Ito, guys, ito maganda kung ito is always available. Maganda po yung total differential cost approach. Why? Kasi lahat ng information na kailangan mo nandyan na. But this is not always the case. Kaya nga ang ginagawa lang natin is yung mga relevant cost and relevant benefits ang ginagamit natin. Diba yun yung sinabi natin, key to successful decision making. Focus on relevant factors. Eliminate or disregard or all irrelevant factors. Kasi nga minsan mahirap makapag-decide. So, ito yung sa company. So, current situation, magkano daw yung net operating income niya? $18. If gagamit siya ng new machine, magkano yung magiging net operating niya? $30,000. So, dito pa lang makakapagsabi na, gamit tayo ng new machine. Okay. So, ito yung tinatawag nating total approach. So, since total, lahat ng information nandyan na. So, mas madali para sa atin ma-identify which is relevant or which among alternatives ang nagbago, ang nag-iba. So, dito sa natin, makikita mo, alin yung nagbago using the new machine. Using the new machine, bumaba yung direct labor natin. Since bumaba, benefit yan para sa atin. So, merong additional income sa atin since bumaba yung cost natin, benefit tayo na ang 15,000. But since gumamit tayo ng new machine, magrerenta tayo, yun nga yung sinabi dyan sa unang paragraph, is magrerenta tayo ng 3,000. So, madadagdagan yung fixed cost natin ng 3,000. So, this is additional cost sa atin. Since additional cost, 15,000 less 3,000, magkakaroon ng benefit of 12,000 for the new machine. Kung gagamitin natin yung new machine, meron tayong additional 12,000, which is also shown in the net operating income. Na dati, 18,000, naging 30,000 na siya because of using the new machine. So, ano yung magiging decision natin? Gamit tayo ng new machine because the company will have an additional net operating income of 12,000. So, ito yung tinatawag naman natin na we can efficiently analyze the decision by looking only at differential cost and revenues. Kunyari, wala na yung iba. Pwedeng yung differential cost and revenue. Ano yung differential cost and revenue? Decrease in direct labor. Revenue or benefit or cost. Since nag-decrease yung cost, benefit yan sa atin, kaya positive. Nakita? Ulitin ko. Decrease in direct labor cost. Kahit cost yan, di mo dapat negative yan, nag-decrease. So, benefit yan sa company. Kaya, 15,000 is a benefit. Next, increase in rental expense. Yung cost mo daw nag-increase ng 3,000. Since nag-increase yung ng 3,000 yung fixed cost mo, negative yan. So, net annual cost saving from renting new machine is 12,000. So, parehas yan, no? Ito yung isa, total approach. Ito yung isa, differential approach ang tawag. Total approach, differential approach. So, alin daw yung most efficient na ginagamit? Yung total or yung differential? The most efficient means of analyzing decision is to use the differential approach. Bakit? Because it isolates the relevant cost and benefit. So, ito yung mga reason bakit mas maganda yung differential approach. Una, only rarely will enough information be available to prepare detailed income statements for both alternatives. Remember, these are short-term decision making. Yung mabilisan. And then, kailangan nandyan agad yung decision. In that case, lagi bang available yung information? Hindi. Since hindi laging available yung information, mahirap para dun sa total approach. Number 2, mingling irrelevant cost with relevant cost may cause confusion and distract attention away from information that is really critical. Diba dito, sa una nating ginawa, present lahat. Sabihin natin wala yung column ng differential cost and benefit. O, takloban nyo sa monitor nyo, yung differential cost and benefit, ma-identify mo ba agad? Diyan pa nga lang sa ganyang presentation, hindi na eh. Tama? Kasi hindi mo na alam, parang nawawala ka sa focus, alin ba talaga yung critical sa decision making ko. Which in this case, ang critical lang naman or makaka-affect lang sa decision mo is yung direct labor, yung effect sa direct labor, at saka yung effect ng additional rental expense. So, kung tinakluban mo dyan sa monitor mo, yung differential cost and benefit na column, mahirap para sa'yo ma-identify alin yung importante. Kaya, ito yung 2 factors na sinasabing differential approach is desirable than the total approach. So, na ano natin? That is objective number 1. Identifying relevant cost. I hope doon sa mga example natin is medyo naliwanagan ka na ano yung relevant, ano yung irrelevant. So, first, short-term decision making is to prepare an analysis showing whether a product line, pwedeng segment, product line, or other business segment should be added or dropped. Whether a product line or a segment should be added or not. Whether a product line should be dropped or retained. Yan. Adding or dropping segments. One of the most important decision managers make is whether to add or drop a business segment. Ultimately, a decision to drop an old segment or add a new one is going to hinge primarily on the impact the decision will have on net operating income. When I add a business segment, ano yung impact niya sa net operating income? Pag tumaas ang net operating income mo, kunyari, drop or retain. Pag drinap ko, tumaas ang net operating impact mo, i-drop mo. Pag bumaba yung net operating income mo dahil sa pag-drop ng segment, don't drop. Ganun lang yun. If dun sa alternative, ang effect niya ay nagkaroon ng increase sa net operating income, choose that alternative. If choosing that alternative will give you negative impact on the net operating income, then don't choose that alternative. To assess this impact, it is necessary to analyze carefully all cost information. So, ito yung example natin dito sa topic na to. Ito yan Due to a decline popularity of digital watches, kasi nga nagkakaroon na ng, kunyari, smartwatch. So, due to declining popularity of digital watches, Lovell Company's digital watch line has not reported a profit for several years. So, naglo-loss na siya. Yung isang segment niya, yung digital watch line. Lovell is considering discontinuing this product line. So, decision rule. Lovell should drop the digital watch segment only if its profit would increase. So, ito daw yung magiging decision making mo Pag drinap mo and your net operating income will increase, drop. But Lovell will compare the contribution margin that would be lost to the cost that would be avoided if the line was to be dropped. So, ito yung information ng digital watches. So, yan. Tingnan mo nga, magkano yung ano niya, yung pinaka-end niya, yung net operating niya is loss. $100 or $100,000. So, ito yung information ni digital watch. Net operating loss niya is $100. So, ngayon, ano nang gagawin mo? An investigation has revealed that the fixed general factory overhead and fixed general administrative expenses will not be affected by dropping the digital watch line. So, ulitin natin. Sino daw yun? Fixed general factory overhead at saka fixed general administrative expenses. So, magkano yon? Fixed general factory overhead, 60,000. Nakita? 60,000 and then fixed general admin expenses. Magkano? 30,000. Total, 90,000. Sabi that 90,000 will not be affected of dropping the segment or the product line. The fixed general factory overhead and the general administrative expenses assigned to this product would be reallocated to other products. So, ganun ang mangyayari. By dropping that product line, yung cost ng general factory overhead and general administrative expenses will be distributed or reallocated to other product line. Meaning, maa-absorb ng iba. Meaning, kahit i-drop mo or i-retain mo, is retain yung cost na yon. The equipment used to manufacture digital watches has no resale value or alternative use. So, matitenga lang daw yung machineries to produce the digital watches. So, ito na yung tanong. Should Lovell retain or drop the digital watch segment? So, dalawang approach tayo. Una, contribution margin approach. Contribution margin, magkano ba yung total contribution margin na matatanggal sa atin? Sige nga. Total contribution margin na matatanggal sa atin is 300,000. So, 300,000. So, tingnan natin kung paano contribution margin approach. So, ang tanong natin, i-drop ba daw yung segment or hindi? So, using the contribution margin approach, magkano yung contribution na mawawala? 300,000. Negative. Bakit negative? Since it will decrease your profit. Negative. Next, salary or fixed cost that can be avoided. Anong ibig sabihin ng avoided? Avoidable cost. Pag avoidable cost, relevant? Yes. Ano yung mga ma-avoid mo? Yung 90,000 na salary ng line manager, advertising cost na direct 100,000 and rent ng factory space na 70,000. Total na mababawas sa cost mo is 260. Bakit naka-positive? Kasi hindi na magi-incur ng cost na 260. Mababawas sa cost mo. So, meaning it is a benefit for the company. While on the other hand, yung 300,000, mababawasan yung profit mo ng 300,000 or the contribution margin. So what is the net advantage? Net advantage is 40,000. Anong ibig sabihin ng 40,000 or negative 40,000? Negative disadvantage of 40,000? Pag drinap mo daw yung digital watches, mas bababa pa daw yung operating income ng company by 40,000. So, ano yung decision? Nakalagay po dyan, i-retain mo. Ganun po pala yun. Yes. Kasi akala ng iba, ito yung nagiging problema ng iba sa business. Those who are not using relevant costing. Akala ng iba, when you drop a segment na nag-i-incur na ang loss, pag nag-loss siya ng mga 3 years at ni-retain at drinap nila yung operating segment na yun or product line, is mababawasan yung net loss ng company. Hindi, because there are some cost na hindi na maa-absorb or wala nang mag-a-absorb. Or instead na ina-absorb ng product line na yon, ay hindi. Ano mangyayari? Ma-absorb na siya ng ibang product line. Ma-allocate sa ibang product line. Anong mangyayari sa ibang product line? Lalong bababa yung net operating income ng product line na yun. So using another approach, para mas maintindihan mo to, ito yung pinaka-easiest way ha, contribution margin approach. Itong sunod is the comparative income approach. So pag sinabi natin comparative income approach, yung total approach. Magkano yung total operating income if wala yung product na yun? Ay wala yung product line na yun? And what is the total operating income if nandun yung product na yun? Now, na ano nyo? So, let's see. So, if you are keeping the digital watches, you will have a net loss of 100,000. Tama? If you are going to drop, syempre, mawawalan ka ng, pag drop mo, wala kang sales, wala kang variable expenses, and also, wala kang contribution margin. So, magkano difference nila? 300,000 for the contribution margin. Ano pa? Yung general factory overhead, sabi nga natin, it will not be affected. So, both choices, meron siya. Or both alternative is existing yung 60,000. Next, yung salary ng line manager. Sabi, it will be avoided. Since avoided, zero siya when you drop the product line. Next, 50,000 depreciation. Yung 50,000 depreciation, sabi kasi the machinery to produce digital watches has no resale value nor alternative use. So hindi mo daw magagamit sa ibang bagay at hindi mo daw mabebenta. But the depreciation, kahit gamitin mo or hindi, nandyan yan. Kaya retained 50,000 na So, the depreciation now is what we call, yan yung tinatawag nating sunk cost na in-explain ko kanina. Also remember that equipment has no resale value or alternative use. So, the equipment and the depreciation expense associated with it are irrelevant to the decision. Next, advertising is avoided, so zero. Rent expense is avoided, zero. And general and admin, sabi nga natin, retained siya. So total, net operating loss, if i-drop mo is 140. Tingnan mo naman, tanggalin mo muna yung difference uli. Takluban yung difference, takluban mo yung column ng difference. Dito pa lang makikita mo na. If you are going to keep the product line of digital watches, the company will be incurring 100,000 loss. But if the company will drop digital watches, the company will incur 140,000 loss. So ano mas gugustuhin ng company? Mas mababang, mas mataas na loss or mas mababa? So ano magiging decision? Retain. I-retain natin. So using differential, ito yung difference. Makikita mo. Yan. Yan yung tinatawag nating total cost approach. Beware of allocated fixed cost. Why should we keep the digital watch segment when it's showing a 100,000 loss? Yun yung tanong, di ba? Sabi mo nga, ito yung naging problema. The answer lies in the way we allocate common fixed cost. Our allocation can make a segment look less profitable than it really is. Paano yon? Since unavoidable, may mga cost doon na unavoidable, it will be reallocated, tama? It will be reallocated to other segment, which will give a lesser performance. Pag sinabi natin lesser performance, less profitable para sa ibang segment or product line. Kasi na-absorb nila yung cost na dapat ini-incur nung product line na drinap mo. Since i-reallocate mo sa kanila kasi the cost is retained regardless of dropping or retaining the product line, ma-reallocate sa kanila. Ang mangyayari, other segment will look like less profitable. If controllable segment margin is negative, ito yung decision margin daw, decision making if the controllable segment margin is negative, drop or discontinue the segment. Because if the segment division or division is dropped, the loss is eliminated. And the overall profit of the company will increase. So ganito yan. Contribution margin is 300,000. Avoidable cost natin dito is yung salary of line manager, 90, plus advertising cost of 100. Tama? So 190 na. Rent expense of 70. 190 plus 70, we have 260,000. Ano ang sabi dito? So meaning controllable segment margin is 40. Ano daw sabi? If controllable segment margin is negative, i-drop mo. Since positive 40,000 tayo dito, retain. Na-gets? So, tatlong way po yung present natin. Una, yung contribution margin approach. Number 2, yung total approach. Number 3, ito yung controllable segment margin. Tatlong approaches yung pwede mong gawin Sa controllable segment margin, ang decision making, ganito lang. Kung positive yung magiging controllable segment margin mo, retain. If negative, drop. Yan. So, na-gets? Yan. Tapos na tayo sa isang decision making. Ay next learning objective natin na decision making is yung tinatawag nating make or buy. Paano po yung make or buy? Ganito yan. When a company is involved in more than one activity in the entire value chain, paano yun? First process hanggang sa dulong process. A decision to carry out one of the activities in the value chain internally rather than to buy externally from a supplier is called make or buy decision. Isa sa mga activities during the value chain ay pwedeng i-supply externally. Yun yung tinatawag nating make or buy decision. Kunyari, sino na nakasakay sa airplane? Taas lang ng kamay. Pag sumakay po kayo sa airplane, meron dong choice kasi pwede kayong bumili ng pagkain. Kunyari kay Cebu pa. Pwede kang bumili ng pagkain mismo kay Cebu pa. Pwedeng on board, doon ka na bibili mismo kasi merong, imagine mo, sa airplane, merong hindi lang po sa bus may nagtitinda ng pagkain. Sa airplane, ganun din. Pagsakay mo, meron dong naglilibot na sales lady. May naglilibot doon na FA, na flight attendant, no? Nagtitinda. Imagine mo, may nagtitinda sa airplane. May nagtitinda daw. Pwedeng on board. Pwede ring before or kasabay na siya ng ng ticket mo. Tama? Kasabay ng ticket, bibili ka na rin ng meals. Pwedeng ganon. Ano po yung tinatawag nating make or buy? Sa make or buy decision, kunyari ang make or buy doon is whether si airplane company or si flying company is siya mismo ang gagawa ng meal or bibilihin niya sa iba. Does the meal give added value sa services nila? Yes po, ma'am. So kasama siya dun sa value chain. Pero nga, nung pinag-uusapan natin is yung mismong meal, hindi yung services na iba, yung mismong meal lang. Should we make the meal or should we buy the meal? Ma'am, sino po ang nagdi-decide dito? Si customer ni Hindi, ang pinag-uusapan dito, ang nagdi-decide dito is the company. Should the company or should the airplane company make the meal or should the company buy the meal na ibinibenta sa mga passengers. So, yun yung tinatawag nating make or buy decision. Or, kunyari, another. Sa isang company, is pwede siyang gumawa ng isang part or pwede niyang bilhin yung part na yon. Kunyari, gagawa siya ng isang product. Part of that product, pwede niyang gawin or pwede niyang bilhin. So, yun yung decision making dito. Make or buy. So, lagyan natin ng example para mas matindi. Essex Company manufactures part 4A that is used in one of its products. The unit product cost of part 4A is $30. So, direct materials of 9, direct labor of 5, variable overhead of 1, depreciation of equipment 3, salary of supervisor 2, general factory overhead of 10. Total, 30. So, ito daw yung decision making. Gagawin niya ba or bibilhin niya? The special equipment used to manufacture the product has no resale value. Hindi mo daw pwedeng mabenta. Walang bibili. The total amount of general factory overhead, which is allocated on the basis of direct labor hours, would be unaffected. So, ibig sabihin, kahit bumili or gumawa, meron pa rin general factory overhead. Magkano yon? General factory overhead is 10. Based on what? Based on direct labor hours. Nakita? Based on direct labor hours of... Wala pa. The unit product cost is 30 based on 20,000 parts produced each year. Yan. 20,000 parts daw yung napoproduce each year. An outside supplier has offered to provide the 20,000 part at a cost of 25. O, tingnan mo ha. Pag produce mo, 30. Pag binili mo, 25. Without analyzing, will you make or buy? Cost per unit is 30. When you make, you will be incurring 340,000. Paano nakuha yung 340,000? Differential costing ang ginawa natin ha, na method. Differential costing, not total method. Differential costing. Only those costs that differs between two alternative. So, if you will make, magbabayad ka ng direct materials na $180 or 9 times 20,000 units. Next, direct labor of 100,000, which is 5 times 20. Next is variable overhead of 20, which is 1 times 20. Yung depreciation, kahit mag-make ka or mag-buy ka, yung depreciation nandyan pa rin. Kaya naka-zero dyan. Next is salary of supervisor. Hindi naman sinabing mariretain yung salary niya. Ang sabi lang yung general factory overhead. So, salary of supervisor, pag gumawa ka, may 40,000. Which is 2 times 20. Total, 40,000. Last is general factory overhead, which is 10. Sabi, ito daw mariretain pag nag-make ka. Ay pag nag-buy ka. Since mariretain, mag-i-incur ka pa rin ng $10 per 20,000 units, times 20,000 units pala, is hindi na natin sinali. So, differential costing method. So, if you will make, you will be incurring 340,000. But if you will buy, tingnan mo, sabi mo, buy po ma'am, kasi 25 lang. Tingnan mo ang nangyari. Ay, ganun po pala yun ma'am. Pag nag-make ako, ang magagastos ko lang ay 340. Pag nag-buy ako is 500. The avoidable costs associated with making Part 4A include direct materials only, direct labor, variable overhead, and the supervisor's salary. Because depreciation is sunk cost. Since the equipment has no resale value, this cost and associated depreciation are irrelevant to decision making. And last, since general factory overhead is not avoidable, hence it is irrelevant. If the product is dropped, it will still be reallocated to other products or yung cost na yun is mai-incur pa rin. So, ang tanong ngayon, tatanungin ko kayo, make or buy? Make na po ma'am, make. Oh, that is correct. Yun yung problema natin. Yan ha. Sa nakikita nyo yung use nitong differential costing. Kasi parang kung hindi natin i-analyze ang cost or information, masasabi natin, bilhin na lang tayo, tama? Instead, nagawa tayo. Kasi ang pinagbabasihan natin is yung total na 30 at yung cost ng pagbili, 25. Hindi natin consider yung mga cost na kahit sa anong alternative, meron pa rin pala yung cost na yun. Meaning, retained yung cost na yun. Since retained yung cost na yun, irrelevant yung cost na yun. Should we make or buy part 4A? Given total avoidable costs are less than the cost of buying the part, excess should continue to make the part. In make or buy decision making, we have what we call opportunity cost. Yan, opportunity cost is the benefit that is forgone as a result of pursuing some course of action. Benefit daw siya na forgone. Parang income na hindi mo naging income. Kaya naging income na hindi mo na naging income. Opportunity na nawala. Since opportunity na nawala, tawag sa kanya opportunity cost. Because of choosing one alternative from another alternative, you have forgone a benefit or you have forgone income. Ang tawag doon, opportunity cost. Income siya, pero cost. Because of choosing one alternative. Nung pinili mo yung isang alternative na yon, naging opportunity cost siya nung alternative na yon. Opportunity costs are not actual cash outlays and are not recorded in the formal accounts of an organization. If excess had an alternative use for the capacity that is used to make part 4A, there would have been an opportunity cost to factor into the analysis. Paano daw yun? Kunyari daw, dito sa make or buy decision, kung kailan magkakaroon ng opportunity cost? Pag bumili ka daw outside nung material na part 4A, yung machinery to produce part 4A daw is pwede mong iparenta for 35,000. Kailan magiging opportunity cost si 35,000? Pag pinili mo si make. Pag nag-make ka, hindi ka magkakaroon ng 35,000. Ganon ang opportunity cost. Ngayon, ang pinili mong alternative is make. Since make ang alternative mo, ay ang pinili mong alternative, never ka nang magkakaroon ng 35,000, right? It is a forgone benefit ng company. Since forgone benefit siya, opportunity cost siya in choosing make. Ito ang tanong. Pag nag-buy po ba ako, meron akong opportunity cost na 35? Hindi, kasi pinili mo yung opportunity. Nagets? Magiging opportunity lang siya if ang pinili mo is make. Kasi hindi mo na magiging 35, hindi na magiging income mo yung 35,000 kasi nag-make ka nga gagamitin mo yung machinery. Pero kung nag-buy ka, walang forgone benefit or income. Walang forgone benefit or income para sa company. Why? Kasi ipaparenta mo ng 35,000. Yan. That is what we call opportunity cost. Another short-term decision making is whether a special order should be accepted or not. Ma'am, ano pong special order? The company is normally producing products. Ngayon, merong lumapit sa company. Pwede bang magpa-customize ganito, ganyan, ganito gusto ko, ganito, ito yung mga specification. So, tawag doon special order. Ang decision making ngayon, should I accept that special order or not? A special order is a one-time order that is not considered part of the company's normal ongoing business. When analyzing a special order, only the incremental cost and benefit, ano daw yung incremental cost? Cost that will increase and benefit that will increase are relevant. Since the existing fixed manufacturing overhead cost would not be affected, they are not relevant in this decision making. What are the factors to consider in deciding whether to accept or reject special orders? Is unnecessary competition created? If yes, it is normally rejected. Paano yung unnecessary competition created? If your regular sales are lost, yung normal mong pinoproduce is mababawasan due to the acceptance of special sales order, the loss contribution margin from regular sales become an opportunity cost that should have been deducted from the incremental profit of accepting the special order. Dahil tinanggap mo yung special order na walan ka ng regular sales. Yung nawalang regular sales are now what we call opportunity cost of accepting special sales. Another factor, do we have an idle or no idle capacity? If there is no alternative use of capacity, the incremental profit is the difference between incremental sales and incremental cost and expenses. The incremental profit or loss from special sales should be compared with the best benefit that may be derived from the alternative use of the capacity to get the net advantage or disadvantage from accepting special orders. If with idle capacity, normally, ina-accept normal operation, di ba? Normal production. Pero meron pang pwedeng masingit kasi meron kang idle capacity. In that case, kung mas mataas yung sales incremental profit or benefit kaysa sa cost na may incur mo, ina-accept. Pag meron namang if there is no idle capacity, meaning full na nagagamit yung operation, anong mangyayari? Magbabawas ka sa regular sales mo or regular production. O doon magkakaroon ng analysis ng incremental profit or loss from that special sales. So that is the two factors na kino-consider natin in accepting or rejecting special sales. Una, capacity or yung idle capacity. Pangalawa is unnecessary competition. So in our example, Jet Incorporated makes a single product whose normal selling price is 20 o 20 pesos daw natin or $20 daw natin binibenta. A foreign distributor offered to purchase 3,000 units for 10 per unit. So, merong gusto magpa-special order, magkano daw niya babayaran sa atin? 10 per unit. Normally, binebenta natin 20, ngayon may special order, 10 per unit. This is a one-time order that would not affect the company's regular business. O hindi daw, maapektuhan yung 20,000 or yung 20 per unit na normal product natin. So, ibig sabihin, merong idle capacity si company. This annual capacity is 10,000 units, but Jet Incorporated is currently producing and selling only 5,000 units. So, meron pa siyang 5,000 units na idle capacity. Pwede pa siya mag-accept ng hanggang 5,000. Kasi ang nagagamit niya lang normally is 5,000. Should Jet accept the order? Dito, tingnan natin yung cost naman. Kasi yung incremental benefit nabigay na sa'yo. Magkano ang incremental benefit? 10 po. 10 times 3,000. So that is 30,000. Ang tanong, magkano yung incremental cost? Hindi agad accept ha. Titingnan mo muna kung net or loss yung special order. So, normally ito daw yung 5,000. Ito yung normal production. So, direct materials, direct labor, manufacturing overhead, marketing cost. Total variable cost of 40,000. Total fixed cost is 48,000. Net operating income 12,000. So, total variable cost is per unit is 8. So, since ipoproduce mo yung special order, ang profit niya or ang revenue niya or babayaran ka at $10 per unit, ang mai-incurred mo to produce that special order is yung variable cost lang. Kasi natandaan mo sa special order daw po, hindi naaapektuhan yung mga fixed cost. Since fixed costs are not affected by special order, they are irrelevant. So, ano lang yung mga relevant? Variable cost. So, ito yung method kung paano ginagawa. If Jet, the incremental revenue will will exceed the incremental cost by magkano? Incremental revenue is 3,000 times 10. Saan ang galing yung 10? That is the special or offer na binigay sa atin. So, special offer is 10. 3,000 times 10, 30. Increase in cost or yung incremental cost na ma-incur natin is 8 variable cost or $8 per unit times 3,000, that is 24,000. So net increase in net income, 6,000. In this case, accept special order. Note that this answer assumes that fixed costs are unavoidable, meaning hindi maapektuhan, and the variable marketing cost must be incurred on a special order. So ito po yung summary kung paano sa special order. Ganyan lang kasimple. If your incremental revenue exceeds incremental cost, sabi dyan, accept. Pag loss, reject. Ganyan lang po kasimple pag special order. Yan. So, let's see. Sige nga, dito. Northern Optical ordinarily sells X lens for 50. The variable cost of producing is 10, fixed cost is 18, and variable selling is 1. So total variable is 11. A customer has requested a special order for 10,000. So 10,000 may gusto ng special order. This special order would not involve any selling cost. So ibig sabihin yung variable selling na magkano? Not piso, $1, hindi siya mai-incur. Hindi daw kasi may involve yung selling cost. So ano lang, yung variable production cost na 10. But Northern Optical would have to purchase imprinting machine of 50. O mag-i-incur daw siya ng 50,000. Pag in-accept daw niya yun, aside from 10 na variable cost, is mag-i-incur din siya to purchase imprinting machine of 50,000. Ano ang mangyayari sa $15,000? This is fixed cost or increase in fixed cost. So ang tanong, what is the rock bottom minimum price below which Northern Optical should not go in its negotiation with customer? In other words, below what price would Northern Optical actually be losing money on sale? There is an ample idle capacity to fulfill the order, and the imprinting machine has no further disorder. Anong ibig sabihin sa question? What is the minimum selling price? What is the minimum selling price na ibibigay mo yung special order? Tingnan mo yung given. Walang sinabing selling price para dun sa special order. Only selling price para dun sa normal product niya, which is 50. Hindi naman sinabi yan yung ibibigay mo. Kaya nga tinatanong, magkano yung minimum price na i-charge mo si customer? Yan. Ano-ano yung mga incremental cost dito na sinabi? Ano-ano yung mga cost na mai-incurred mo dahil dun sa special order? Ma'am, una po is variable cost. 10. O, sige, 10. Ano pa? Yung fixed production, mag-i-incur ka ba? Ma'am, hindi po. So, hindi yung kasali. Next, variable selling cost of 1. Sinabi na dyan, would not involve any selling cost. Meaning, hindi kasali. So, meron lang tayo 10. Pero meron pang isa. Bibili daw kasi siya ng isang imprinting machine. Magkano? 50,000. So, 50,000, ilan ba yung in-order sa'yo? Ma'am, 10,000 po. 10,000 units. So, ganito po yung pagkuha ng minimum selling price of special order. Variable cost of 100,000 plus additional fixed cost of 50. Total relevant cost is 150,000. Number of units, ilan ba yung in-order? 10. Average cost per unit, 15. So, magkano mo daw ibibenta? 15. Ito yung minimum price or rock bottom price. Pag binenta mo siya ng 14, loss ka. Pag binenta mo siya ng 16, profit ka. Another way to solve. Diba 10? Yung variable cost. Magkano yung printing machine? 50. Ilan yung units? 10,000 po. O di 50 over 10,000, 5. 10 plus 5, 15. Same lang po yan. So that is what we call special order. Tapos na tayo sa learning objective number 4. 5 na lang. Madali lang naman tong mga to. Actually, kala mo lang mahirap yung chapter na to. Ito lang kasi yung una mong dapat isipin for relevant costing. You cannot solve problems in relevant costing unless you can identify which is relevant and which is not. That is the first thing to do. Una, is there any alternatives? Kasi kung walang alternatives, wala tayong decision making na gagawin. Pangalawa, identify relevant and irrelevant information. Pag nagawa mo yun, madali nang mag-solve. So I hope you learn from this, kasi hanggang dun lang muna yung i-discuss natin.